Hello and welcome. So, have you ever found yourself staring at your phone, ready to pay for something, and just wondered, why do I always tap on this one payment app over all the others? Well, it turns out there's this hidden psychology at play, and we're going to dive into a really fascinating research paper that unpacks that exact split-second decision.
Okay, let's get real for a second. You're at the checkout, phone in hand, maybe scrolling through a whole folder of apps. What is it that actually makes you choose one mobile wallet over another? You might think, oh, it's the features, or maybe it's the brand, right? But the researchers we're looking at today found it's something way deeper, a kind of hidden barrier they call the mental cost. Now, when you hear mental cost, I don't want you to think about money. This has nothing to do with fees or anything like that. It's all about the psychological hurdles we have to jump over before we really embrace a new piece of tech. It's about our confidence, our time, and whether something actually fits into our life. Think of it like the invisible price an app has to pay to become your go-to choice. So here's our game plan. We're going to look at how the researchers tackled this puzzle, how they made sure their results were solid, what they actually discovered about our decision-making process, and then the big one, what this all means for you and me.
All right, so how did the researchers even begin to investigate something like this? Well, they didn't just start from scratch asking random questions. In any good study, you build on the work of people who came before you. And that's exactly what they did. They grounded their entire investigation in some really powerful, established theories about human behavior and our relationship with technology. They started with a few core ideas, kind of like their toolkit. There's one theory that basically says our choices are shaped by our attitudes and how much control we feel we have. Another one is a huge model for explaining how we accept new tech in general. And then they layered on some key theories about trust. By combining all these, they created this really powerful lens to understand what really makes us pick one mobile wallet. So with their theories in place, they just needed to find the right people to talk to.
And who did they talk to? They zeroed in on a very specific group, postgraduate students. Now, why them? Because they're what you'd call tech-savvy early adopters. They're the perfect people to ask if you want a really clear signal about what works and what doesn't in new tech. So let's take a closer look at exactly who these folks were.
And this table really shows why this group was so perfect for the study. I mean, look at this. Every single person had a smartphone and had already used a mobile wallet, so they weren't guessing. They had real-world experience. And the fact that most of them used Android is a great reflection of the global market. Focusing on a group this experienced and this tech-forward means their feedback is incredibly valuable for figuring out what really drives our choices. Okay, this next part is super, super important. Before you can get excited about what you found, you have to be absolutely sure your tools are working right. For researchers, this means checking that their survey questions are actually reliable and consistent. It's a crucial step that you just can't skip in good science. So, to make sure their survey was trustworthy, they ran a test. Think of it like this. If you ask a few slightly different questions about the same idea, you should get pretty consistent answers, right? Well, these scores measure that consistency. In the science world, anything above a 0.7 is considered solid. And as you can see, every single one of their key factors passed with flying colors. This tells us that the results we're about to see are built on a really strong foundation. All right, so with solid, reliable data in their hands, the researchers could finally answer the big question. They found a really clear hierarchy of these mental costs, basically the sequence of hurdles an app has to clear to win us over. And we're going to reveal them in reverse order, starting with the least influential one.
And here is where things get really fascinating, because this completely flips what most people think on its head. App designers are often obsessed with ease of use, making a simple, beautiful interface. But this research shows that's the final hurdle, and honestly, the least important one. Before we even care how easy an app is to use, we first have to trust it, and before that, it has to be compatible with our life. But the number one most important factor, the very first hurdle an app has to clear, is our own confidence. It all comes down to a simple personal question. Do I actually feel like I can use this thing? So this isn't just some interesting academic thing. Not at all. These findings have direct, real-world consequences for how mobile wallets are designed, how they're marketed to us, and even how we, as consumers, can make more conscious choices about the tech we decide to bring into our lives. For anyone who makes apps, the message here is crystal clear. Before you spend a ton of money on a slick design and a huge ad campaign, you've got to nail the fundamentals. Start by making your users feel empowered. Show them they have the skills to succeed with your app. Then prove how your app solves a real problem and fits into their daily routine. Build that foundation of trust. Only then does that slick user interface actually start to matter. And this quote from the researchers themselves just nails the core insight. These factors don't just exist side by side. They create a chain reaction. Our feeling of control and confidence directly impacts how compatible we think an app is. That feeling of compatibility then influences whether we trust the service. And that trust, finally, shapes how easy we find the app to use. It's like a domino effect, and it all starts with empowering the user from day one.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? The next time you download an app, it's not just about the shiny features. It's about the confidence it gives you. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Hopefully, it gives you a whole new way to look at the technology you carry around in your pocket every single day.